Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video. So I thought that I would share with you some ideas of how to keep your baby or toddler or small child cool when it's really hot weather. So we recently had a heat wave and the temperature was, I think it was over 30 degrees on some days, and even inside it was so hot. As I'm filming this now, it's not at all, but apparently we do have another heat wave coming. So babies cannot regulate their own temperature, and as you're probably aware, this can actually be really dangerous for them. So it is very important to keep them as cool as you can, and even small children are also very sensitive to hot weather. So if you are new, then I'm Helen and my son Arthur is 18 months old. So this is his second summer. So obviously we had last summer trying to keep him cool, and we've had this summer as well. So I really hope that you enjoy this video. Please do subscribe if you enjoy watching motherhood videos, and let's get straight into it. So the first thing that I'm going to say, which is a fairly obvious one, but there is something a bit different, so bear with me, is about dressing them. So obviously you need to put them in weather or heat appropriate clothing, which does make sense, but just be aware, especially if you're out, if you do have them in a baby carrier, that does count as an extra layer. So baby may be kind of extra or hotter than you think they might be if they're in a baby carrier. And then when they're inside the house, I just wanted to touch on something for night time. So when it's really hot, you may think baby will be best in just a nappy, but there is some articles that I've read that say actually sometimes it can be cooler for the baby to wear a bodysuit and a nappy at night time. And I think the theory is when they sweat, the sweat goes onto their bodysuit, and then that actually helps to cool them down. However, this recent heat wave that we had, even our bedroom was like late 20s, mid 20s degrees. It was so hot. So I was just doing some more research, and I did come across an article. So it was written by some sort of medical professional, some consultant somewhere. And she said, yes, put your baby in just a bodysuit, unless if the temperature is 27 degrees or over inside, then just put them in a nappy. So that is what I did this heat wave, because it was over that. But that is something just to be aware of. Obviously, please do your own research and whatever and see what you can find. But that's what I was doing for Arthur. So if it was like below 27, then he would just be in a bodysuit. But if it was above that, then he would just be in his nappy. So speaking about the night time, obviously the night time, I think for me as well, is kind of the time that I worry the most about Arthur, obviously because we're all asleep. Now, there are a couple of ways which you can use your fan to help keep your bedroom cool. So they do say that you could hang a damp towel or tea towel or something like that in front of the fan, so not over it, obviously, because that's probably not very safe. But yeah, just like hang it over a chair or arrow or something, and that will help. The fan obviously will kind of hit that coldness of the damp, and then it will kind of spread the cooler air around the room. Or you could also put a bowl of ice cubes or even some iced water in bottles. Just put that in front of the fan, and that will just help to blow the cool air around the room. And just a note about fans, don't keep the fan pointed at the baby. So if you are keeping your fan on overnight in the bedroom where your baby is, don't point it directly at the baby, because that could actually make them too cold, and that can be dangerous as well. You will also want to keep your bedroom curtains shut in the day. So even if you think your bedroom doesn't directly face the sunlight will obviously still come in and your room will still get extra hot. Now, there's also a theory about windows. So personally, I do open the windows in the house and I let there be like a through draft going through the whole house. But I have read that if you keep the window open, that does let warm air in, and it would actually be better to keep the window shut. So I did try it once on this recent heat wave. I'm not really sure if it made a difference. So do let me know if you know for sure. If you've tried both ways, keeping the window open or shut, does it make much of a difference? Let me know. But yeah, maybe do try it and see which works best for your room. And then during the day, you obviously want to keep your baby as cool as possible. So personally, when it was really hot, we weren't even going out, to be honest. But obviously if you go out, just make sure that they stay in the shade. But make sure if they're in a pram, get like one of those little umbrellas or parasols or whatever, or those little shades that you can buy. Don't put a muslin over, because hopefully you will have heard that can actually cause a greenhouse effect. So some people put like muslins like completely over the pram of the baby or in the car seat, but actually that just traps the warm air in, and it does get very hot, and that is very dangerous. So don't do that if you don't know that already. Also make sure that you are keeping baby hydrated, so they will need extra drinks. Now this does vary depending on the age of the babies, and also if they are breastfed or formula fed. So if your baby is breastfed, then you don't need to offer them like extra water if they're very young. You'll probably find that if your baby is breastfed, they will naturally come to you for more feeds anyway, but if they're very young, then make sure you're just offering extra breast feeds, and if they're young, they don't need extra water otherwise. And also breast milk is very clever because it knows that it's hot and your milk will actually change composition. I think it just gets a bit more watery, so it will be more hydrating for your baby. Obviously, if your baby is formula fed, you can give them cold boiled water under 6 months. And yeah, if your baby is older or a toddler, just make sure that you're offering more drinks. I also tend to give Arthur a lot of colder foods, so things like yogurt, and also a lot of fruit I think is really good because it's got a high water content anyway. It's hydrated and it's nice and cool for them to have. You could make things like breast milk ice lollies, or I've seen people make ice lollies from fruit and things like that, so just everything to help cool them down. Play-wise, playing with water is really good, and that does help to keep the baby cool. So if you are inside or you're at home all day, then get the paddling pool out, which is really good. Put that in the garden, make sure that they're in some shade, so hopefully you've got some sort of shade or a garden umbrella or something like that. You could even let them play with their water table if they have one. Arthur actually really likes standing in his paddling pool and then playing with his water table, but that's absolutely fine. You could even put the paddling pool inside. So last summer I did do that quite a lot when he was very young. So he was just playing with the paddling pool inside in our kitchen, but if they're a bit older, obviously that could get a bit messy, but that's something just to think about as well. But any water play is good really, even if you just fill up some Tupperware boxes with them. Obviously it depends how young or old your baby or child is. You could even do ice cubes, so you can do really clever things with ice cubes actually. So you could like get an ice cube tray or containers that are obviously safe to go in the freezer, and you can like hide toys in and then cover it with water and pop it in, and then the next day you've got some cool like activities that you can do with water, and it does really help to cool them down. Now this is a bit of a random one, so as I said, some of these things are quite obvious, some of them are a bit random. This is something which I've done. So in our front room we've got a big rug, but we've also got some floor without a rug, which is wooden, and that is a lot cooler than playing on the rug. So I actually do encourage Arthur to play on the cooler flooring rather than on the rug. So think about the different rooms in your house or the different flooring, because even for me, I was enjoying sitting on the cold floor rather than on the rug. It felt much better, and I think that is just something extra to help keep your baby cool. And you know, obviously if they are playing with toys, it is hard, especially if they're on the move, if they're crawling or walking, but ideally they'd be kind of playing more like calmer activities. You know, if they're like running around loads and loads, obviously they get all worked up and they get all like hot and sweaty. So yeah, if you can, think about different activities that might keep them more absorbed and more focused, so that they'll stay sat down for longer and hopefully be a bit cooler. During the day and night, I would actually just kind of mop Arthur's brow, you know, but get like a cold flannel or cold muslin, like a damp one, and just like, you know, you can mop their forehead, like their neck, their back of their neck, that gets really hot in there, you know, their chest, or like their feet and their wrists, anywhere you think kind of are the points really which would help to cool them down. And I actually do this overnight as well, so I would just leave a muslin or the cloth next to me. Obviously Arthur is still, you can see, Arthur still sleeps next to me or in the bed. But yeah, I would just get a damp cloth, and it would even just pat him down overnight too. Another random one which I think personally would be nice and cooling is actually to brush their hair. So this does sound a bit random, but you know, especially obviously for me, I've got long hair. When I like lift my hair up, it does feel nice just to get it off my neck. So if you've got a baby or toddler that's got hair that's like on their neck, just brushing it up and letting the air get to their neck, it feels really nice. Or even just brushing their scalp, so even if they don't have long hair, just like brushing their scalp, because I think, it does sound a bit silly, but honestly it does feel a bit cooler. You know, like I guess it's because different parts of your scalp are exposed. So it's like when you brush it, I guess you're like letting that part of your head like get a bit of cool air on it. It sounds a bit silly, but yeah, honestly, just like brush it through. Obviously if they've got like a bit of sweaty hair as well, just like brush it all through, and that might help to keep them cooler. It does work for me anyway. And then the last thing that I'm going to say is just having a nice cool bath. So this could be something that you do before bedtime. And I always think, you know, the normal bath temperature, we always do it warmer than your body one. So body temperature is 36.5. So when you give baby a bath, they always say to obviously do a bath a bit hotter than that. And I just think it's just easy to remember, you know, if you have a hot bath, that's going to raise your body temperature. If you have a cool bath, that's going to lower your body temperature, which is obviously what you want in really hot weather. So I don't do it too cold, I just do it a bit cooler, so like maybe a couple of degrees cooler. And obviously, you know, when you're in it, the temperature goes down anyway. But yeah, that's just something nice to do, especially at the end of the day before bedtime, so that they're not like too hot already before getting into bed. So I think that rounds up all of my ideas and ways to keep your baby slash toddler slash small child nice and cool in the summer. I think there is another heat wave coming, but we'll see. So hopefully this video will be helpful at some point to you, or when you're watching this, hopefully it will help you. But thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to me. I post 2 to 3 videos a week about motherhood and also food hauls as well, which I do on a Friday. So I'd love to have you here on my channel. Please do give this video a like if you did enjoy it, and don't forget to comment below any other ideas or any other ways that you find help keep your baby or child cool in the summer. But thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in my next video. Have a lovely day or evening, whatever you're doing when you're watching this, and I'll see you soon. Bye everyone!